Josh's panic is impossible to hide as he stands by the bright, sterile walls of Mass General Hospital in Boston, watching nurses and doctors rush past with anxious faces. His daughter, Emily, is somewhere beyond those doors, fighting a sickness no specialist has been able to name, much less cure. By now, the sharp smell of antiseptic and the constant beeping of monitors have become a blur in his memory. He can only focus on the faces coming and going, searching for some kind of sign, any bit of good news. Suddenly, a skinny kid wanders over from the waiting room. His name is Tyler, and he looks so out of place in his faded jeans and oversized hoodie that Josh almost waves him away without a second thought. But Tyler stops right in front of him and says, so calmly it's almost unnatural, that he knows what's wrong with Emily and can help. Josh feels a flash of anger. This is no time for games. But then Tyler mentions things about Emily's symptoms and recent events at home that no stranger should possibly know. Josh, still dressed in the suit he wore to the office that morning, stands frozen. Somewhere between disbelief and a desperate hope, he finds himself listening, realizing help might arrive from where he least expects it. Tyler quietly lists off details that no one else in the bustling hospital hall could possibly know. He talks about the night Emily came home tired after her class field trip to the Boston Aquarium, saying she drank from a strange water bottle she found on the bus. Josh's heart skips a beat. Only he and Emily's teacher should know about that, and neither would ever talk about it to a random boy. The way Tyler recalls the exact color of the bottle and Emily's faint complaint of a weird taste chills Josh to the bone. For the first time since this nightmare began, Josh stops thinking of Tyler as a lost kid or a pest and starts to see him as someone with a gift for seeing things that others miss. As the doctors scramble back and forth, Tyler calmly tells Josh that the sickness is not an autoimmune issue, but a reaction to a brand new medication. He says the doctors have been working with incomplete information and that none of this is their fault. Tyler's words hit hard. There may still be hope, and it is not because anyone meant Emily harm. He goes on, telling Josh that an ex-nurse named Brenda tried to warn the staff about this medication, but was quickly shut down. Now, with strange clarity settling over him, Josh feels an urgent responsibility to track down this nurse and finally get the answers he needs. Tyler does not waste time once he sees Josh's hesitation. It is almost like he expected this moment all along. He tells Josh that their only real chance to help Emily is to find Brenda, the ex-nurse, right away. She lives out past Dorchester, a good drive away, but Tyler sounds so sure that Josh can only nod, even though his mind is racing. Josh has always been the kind of guy who likes having everything in order, keeping every detail buttoned down, both at home and at work. Trusting a stranger, especially a young teenager, goes against every instinct he has developed in boardrooms and business lunches. Still, the fear in his chest is shadowed only by the thin thread of hope that Tyler's odd knowledge brings. For the first time since Emily fell sick, he feels like action. Any action is better than standing around watching the clock tick by. Without much more thought, Josh grabs his coat and motions for Tyler to follow him to the parking lot. As they hurry through the shining corridors of the hospital, Josh can sense that this is more than just a side errand. It feels like he is stepping off a curb into oncoming traffic, leaving behind a world he thought he controlled for something far wilder. The city bus ride out to East Boston is nothing like what Josh is used to. He and Tyler squeeze together near the back, surrounded by tired commuters, high school kids, and people lost in their own thoughts. For once, no one recognizes him or seems to care about his tailored suit or expensive watch. He is just another face, bouncing along with everyone else, and somehow the lack of attention feels both strange and freeing. The hard plastic seat presses into his back, but Josh ignores his discomfort. For the first time in weeks, he feels like he is actually doing something to help Emily, instead of just waiting around or signing paperwork. Tyler, pressed close beside him, starts to talk in fits and starts about his own life. He tells stories about moving from one foster home to another, about losing people he cared about young, and how finding ways to help others has kept him afloat. Josh listens, quietly shaken by how grown-up Tyler sounds for someone so young. Through these honest scraps of conversation, Josh begins to see the similarities between them, buried beneath clothes, age, and backgrounds. They are both a little hollowed out by things beyond their control, and both driven by a fierce need to protect someone they love. By the time the bus rattles to their stop, Josh finds a kind of understanding in Tyler's words. A reminder that strength comes in all shapes, and sometimes the most fragile. People are the toughest. When Josh and Tyler knock on Brenda's door, she doesn't look thrilled to see strangers on her front porch. Her house is small, a bit worn down, with overgrown grass and chipped paint, but she stands firm, not budging an inch as she eyes them both. Josh, feeling awkward, explains who he is, and with a nudge from Tyler, mentions the exact symptoms Emily has been suffering. At the word hallucinations, something changes in Brenda's expression. She quietly ushers them inside, locking the door behind her. Inside the cramped living room, Brenda digs through a drawer and pulls out a thick folder packed with notes, reports, and printouts. Shuffling through the stack, she tells them she has seen dozens of other kids taken down by similar symptoms, all after being given the same new medication. She says she has tried more than once to get someone to listen, first her superiors, then the local health board, but it always gets swept under the rug. Brenda spreads the documents out on her kitchen table and points to records nobody else has bothered to read all the way through. As Josh looks closer, his gut twists. The name of the pharmaceutical company behind the drug, Havenchem, jumps out at him. He knows that name because it is part of the same giant group his own company, North Star Holdings, owns. With this realization, guilt and anger flood in at once. Josh sees now that fixing things for Emily is tangled up in something much bigger than he realized. The urgency to save his daughter is now tied to stopping a disaster that runs right through his own world. Armed with Brenda's stack of evidence, Josh hurries back to Mass General with Tyler close behind him. His mind races the whole way, but his purpose is clear now. As soon as he gets through the hospital doors, he heads straight to Emily's room and tells the head nurse to stop the medication immediately. The staff is baffled, and Dr. Curtis, the senior physician on the case, tries to talk him down, insisting on protocol and warning about the risks of pulling a treatment mid-course. But Josh, fueled by anger and the weight of what he has learned, is not backing down this time. He demands independent experts take over Emily's care and stands firm, refusing to budge even when the medical team grows frustrated around him. Tyler hangs back and watches, a little awed by the change in the man who hours earlier had barely managed to hide how scared and lost he felt. Josh's fear is still there, but it has turned into something sharper, a stubborn need to do what is right, no matter who tries to block him. The odd connection between Josh and Tyler grows stronger in these tense moments. A quiet understanding passing between them. Still, it is clear that forces much bigger than them are starting to stir, and neither can guess what fallout might come once word gets out. With Emily's medication finally stopped and independent doctors reviewing her case, Josh sits in the hospital's pale waiting room, feeling a mix of relief and tension. As the minutes crawl by, his phone vibrates with messages from nervous board members and lawyers, but none of that matters as much as keeping his daughter safe. Still, as things begin to settle, he realizes something else. He needs to protect Tyler too. Josh knows there are people who might not want the truth to get out, and Tyler has already stuck his neck out enough. Pulling the boy aside, Josh speaks quietly and asks him to keep his distance for a while. Tyler does not like it, but after a moment he reaches into his jacket pocket and hands Josh a scrap of paper with an old phone number. "If you need me, call," he says, worry etched on his face. The next few days roll by at a crawl. The new medical team works round the clock, running tests and double-checking records. When their findings finally come in, they confirm exactly what Brenda and Tyler suspected. The drug contains a dangerous compound that puts genetically vulnerable kids like Emily at serious risk. Armed with this diagnosis, they start Emily on a new treatment. The first signs of hope flicker to life, but even as the tension in the hospital eases, Josh can't shake the feeling of unease. The fight is not nearly over. Just when things finally seem to be moving in the right direction, Josh notices he has not heard from Tyler for a couple of days. He tells himself the boy is just staying safe as asked, but unease creeps in. His worry only grows when Brenda calls, her voice tight with concern, and tells him Tyler has vanished. No one has seen him at the shelter where he sometimes sleeps, and none of his usual contacts have a clue. Brenda is convinced this is not just a coincidence. Too many things are happening at once, and Tyler, who knows so much, could easily have become a target. With this news, Josh snaps into action. He calls in favors, asks security from North Star Holdings to help search, and even reaches out to a retired detective he trusts. For all his power and connections, though, Josh feels he is hitting wall after wall. The world of runaways and foster care has its own shadows, and it quickly sinks in just how many gaps there are for kids like Tyler to fall through. Every call that leads nowhere makes Josh feel smaller, like all his money and influence do little, against a system that barely notices when someone like Tyler slips away. The more days pass, the clearer it becomes. Keeping children safe in America's busy cities is not a promise anyone can keep for sure, no matter how hard they try. With each passing day, Josh grows more desperate, trying every avenue he can think of to find Tyler and do something about Haven Chem's drug scandal. Running out of options, he reaches out to Dana, a tough investigative journalist he once met at a charity event in Manhattan. When Dana picks up, Josh explains everything, how the drug almost killed his daughter, the hidden records, and Tyler's sudden disappearance. For a moment, she is silent. Then Dana tells Josh he is incredibly brave to blow the whistle on his own corporation, especially with so much on the line. Josh admits he is scared, but not enough to let this keep happening. Dana agrees to help, promising to keep the investigation as quiet as possible until Tyler is safe. Together, they map out a plan. Dana will start gathering evidence and putting the story together, but they will hold off on publishing anything, names or photos, that might put Tyler in the spotlight right away. Their goal is to draw enough attention to the larger problem with Haven Chem's drug while buying time to find the missing boy. At the same time, Josh tells Brenda he wants to set up a new watchdog group, an outside institute that tracks drug safety, and asks her to lead it. The wheels for real change are starting to turn, even as the pressure keeps building. Back at Mass General, Josh barely has a moment to rest before a new problem shows up. One morning, 2 doctors from Emily's team offer a cutting-edge alternative treatment, saying it could speed up her recovery. Something about their pitch does not feel right, so Josh asks a few more questions. It only takes a quick look at the paperwork to notice that the sponsor behind this experimental protocol is none other than Haven Chem, the same pharmaceutical giant behind all their trouble. The idea that the company could still be weaving into his daughter's care makes Josh boil with frustration. He tells the doctors point blank there is no way he will let Emily be part of any study sponsored by that company. The room turns icy, And Dr. Curtis, still leading the medical team, presses even harder, promising benefits and saying Josh only wants what is best for Emily. Josh does not back down. At this point, he is done taking anything on faith. He calls his lawyer and arranges for Emily to be transferred to Mount Sinai, a hospital across town with a team known for its independence. When he tells Dr. Curtis and the rest of the staff, the tension hits a breaking point. Josh knows there might be backlash, but he is determined now. Emily's safety will not be traded for anyone's profit, and he is ready to take on whatever comes next. Just as Josh and Emily are settling into the new hospital, Josh's phone rings late one night. On the other end is Sophie, a friend of Tyler's from the shelter. She sounds nervous and keeps her voice low. Sophie tells Josh she knows where Tyler is, or at least where he was last seen. Tyler, she explains, slipped back into Mass General after hours. He wanted to find some kind of proof against Dr. Curtis, having overheard bits of conversation about shredding old files that might point to the drug's risks. Sophie says she is worried because Tyler was determined but did not really know what he was walking into. With all the secrecy and tension in the air, there is a real sense that Tyler is in immediate danger. Josh's heart races as the gravity of what is happening hits him. He quickly gets his lawyer on the line and then calls Detective Murray, a federal agent who helped him track down missing persons in the past. Laying out everything he knows, Josh tries to make it clear that this is not just a missing child case. There is a very real risk of evidence being destroyed and corporate wrongdoing going unnoticed. The urgency of it sparks rapid action. Within the hour, police officers are mobilized to sweep the hospital while Josh paces, waiting and hoping they reach Tyler before it is too late. The possibility of exposing the entire cover-up now hangs by a thread. While the police and legal teams rush to coordinate their next moves, Josh sits by Emily's hospital bed, torn between a strange mix of relief and worry. Emily is finally showing real signs of recovery. She's talking more, eating little by little, and even sits up to watch cartoons with him. She does not know all the details, but she keeps asking about Tyler, wanting to thank him for what he did. Her words hit Josh hard. He tries to keep his tone light while he assures Emily that Tyler is brave and that they will see him again soon. Deep down, he feels a sharp anxiety, unable to shake the fear of what Tyler might be facing at that very moment. The stress of the waiting makes every hour drag on. Still, Josh's promise to his daughter that he will bring Tyler back keeps him focused. He thinks about all the other families whose kids have been hurt and knows he cannot give up. Emily's gratitude fuels him in ways nothing else could. As she drifts off to sleep, clutching a faded drawing Tyler once gave her, Josh quietly promises himself and her that he will not rest until the boy is safe, and those responsible are held to account. The night before the police move in is long and restless for Josh. He barely catches a wink of sleep, pacing up and down the hallway outside Emily's new hospital room. Nurses come and go, throwing him sympathetic looks as they finish the paperwork for her private transfer, and everyone keeps things hush-hush so no word slips to the wrong person. With every text from Dana and every quick update from Detective Murray, his nerves get a little more frayed, but he does not let himself show fear in front of Emily. The hospital staff help move her quietly just after midnight, wheeling her bed out a back elevator and through a side entrance to a new pediatric unit where no one will know to look for her. Even as he helps get Emily settled, Josh's mind keeps drifting to Tyler and the team preparing for the early morning raid. The risks feel bigger now than ever. Not just legal risk or damage to his business, he thinks about the possibility of real harm coming to those he is trying to protect. But Josh is clear on one thing. He is not running away from what his choices have brought on. Watching the city, lights through the window, he knows that whatever comes next, there is no turning back. It is just after sunrise when Josh gets the call he has been waiting for. Detective Murray's voice is steady but tired. Tyler is safe. Relief floods through Josh so quickly he has to sit down. Tyler was found locked in a storage room deep in the hospital's basement, weak and dehydrated, but still clutching a folder thick with papers. Those documents turn out to be exactly what Dana needs. Clear, detailed proof that Haven Chem had been hiding the dangers of their drug for years, burying the facts under piles of doctored reports and secret memos. The fallout comes fast. Suddenly, news vans swarm the hospital parking lot. Agents in suits move through the halls, carrying boxes of files, while officers quietly lead several Haven Chem executives away in handcuffs. Dana's story goes live that afternoon, spreading across every news site in the country, and soon the company's entire web of lies starts to unravel. But even as Josh stands outside the hospital, watching it all unfold, the weight of everything hits him. Tyler might be a hero, but he is shaken, haunted by what he saw and did to protect the truth. Josh knows things will never be the same for any of them, but he quietly hopes that what they did will finally make a difference. Over the next few days, the story of what happened at Mass General is everywhere. Carmen Jones, the reporter who first broke the case, interviews Tyler on national television, and suddenly the whole country is talking about him. He becomes a symbol of bravery and honesty, a kid who did what grown-ups were afraid to do. People send letters, gifts, and even paintings from across the United States, telling Tyler how much he means to them. Meanwhile, Emily's health keeps improving each day. She is finally able to walk around and spend time out in the hospital garden. When she and Tyler meet again, both kids break into huge smiles. Emily gives Tyler a big hug and thanks him for what he did. Tyler just shrugs, trying to play it cool, but you can see how much it means to him. The two quickly become close friends, sharing stories and laughs like they have known each other forever. Watching them, Josh feels a deep sense of gratitude. He and Dana talk late into the evenings about their next steps, plans to start a new foundation that will watch over medicine safety and help families like theirs. They are determined that what happened to Emily will spark real change, not just for themselves, but for everyone else too. In the months that follow, Haven Chem goes through massive changes. Most of the old executives are fired as the criminal. Trials move forward and a completely new board steps in. People who promise to clean up the mess and check every drug the company sells. Her prices drop and the company's headquarters gets a daily crowd of protesters outside the building. Josh is asked to testify, and even though it is stressful, he feels proud standing up for what is right. The hit to Haven Chem's finances is tough, but Josh never doubts the choice he made. Keeping his daughter and kids like Tyler safe matters more than any profit or business deal. For Josh, the entire ordeal changes how he sees the world. He stops worrying so much about his image and focuses on doing good, both as a dad and as a leader. Emily, now fully healthy, decides to write about what happened to her. She starts a blog, telling her story in her own words, writing about the tough days, the friends she made, and the lessons learned. People start following her blog from all over the country. Emily's honest voice becomes a rallying point for other families, and soon she is helping raise awareness for medicine safety on a much bigger scale. As months passed and more evidence came in, the story kept getting bigger. Investigators uncovered that some other drugs made by Haven Chem were also involved in cover-ups and altered reports. Every new headline made Josh realize how close the disaster had come to so many more families. His sense of duty grew. He started to see that taking a stand wasn't just for Emily's sake, but for lots of people he would never meet. One afternoon, Detective Murray pulled Josh aside during a meeting at the hospital. He explained that things were complicated for Tyler at home. Attempts to contact Tyler's parents had gone nowhere, and after several tries, it became clear they were not willing to take him back in. Because of everything Tyler had done to help, there was a legal path for Tyler to be taken in by someone trustworthy. This news caught Josh completely off guard. He had worried about what might happen to Tyler, but he never really saw himself as anything more than a grateful friend or mentor. Now, as he thought about opening his home to Tyler, emotions welled up, surprise, responsibility, and a kind of hope he had not expected. The thought of their little family growing felt both overwhelming and deeply right. Josh wanted to handle the offer with care, so he sat down with Tyler and Dana in the living room, making sure Tyler knew there was no pressure. He talked about how much their lives had changed and said that if Tyler wanted, he could join their family for good. It was important to Josh that Tyler's friendship with Dana was kept in mind. After all, they had been through so much together. Emily, hearing about the idea, was excited right away. To her, Tyler was already like a brother. She promised she would back him up no matter what, talking non-stop about the fun things they could all do together and the plans she had for getting him involved with their new foundation. Tyler listened quietly, taking it all in. You could see he was holding back tears as he nodded and said yes, but only if he could really pitch in. He wanted to help run the institute, work with kids who were in tough spots, and make sure no one got left behind like he once had. That promise was enough for everyone, and the decision felt natural. With trust and plenty of laughs, their small family grew by one, and together they looked forward to making a real difference for others. As the weeks passed, Tyler worked on settling into his new home. Life at Josh and Emily's was different in almost every way. There were steady meals, a cozy bedroom with his name on the door, and evening routines he had only seen in movies. Still, sometimes the nervousness crept in, especially at bedtime, when memories from his past would catch him off guard. Emily seemed to sense this without him even saying anything. She would crack a joke or invite him to play a game, and before he knew it, the heavy feeling would lift. Dana, too, became someone Tyler could really count on, showing him that trust could come back bit by bit with the right people around. Meanwhile, the new foundation, which everyone decided to call Tyler's place, started to get real traction. The team came up with smart ways to keep an eye on drug safety, and they ran workshops designed by and for young people. Kids from all kinds of backgrounds showed up, some just wanting to belong, others hoping they could help make things better. For everyone, Tyler took an active role, wanting every kid's voice to matter. In a short time, Tyler's place became a well-known center, drawing attention and giving hope to families that had struggled for too long. After a whole year had passed since the start of the scandal, life looked surprisingly different for everyone involved. Josh threw himself into the work at Tyler's place, splitting his energy between the growing organization and time with his family. Home was busier and louder than it used to be, but Josh would not have traded it for anything. He watched as Emily and Tyler formed the kind of bond siblings only build by being there for each other when it really counts. They covered for each other during chores, looked out for one another at school, and always had each other's backs. Dana was proud to watch her two best friends turn into real family, the connection between them filled with shared secrets and real respect. On a peaceful afternoon, Tyler sat on the wide front steps, thinking about how much his world had changed. What stuck with him most was the simple moment when Josh had chosen to listen rather than look away. That one choice, small as it seemed at the time, had set off waves of good things. For him, for Emily, and for kids he would never even meet. Tyler smiled, realizing that trust and kindness could shift the path of a life. With that knowledge, he felt sure that even tough truths and difficult choices could lead people toward hope, showing just how much a little courage can inspire change.